Hi, time to call out another taboo topic which everyone knows happens, but we don't want to talk about. And that's why it's a Taboo Wednesday topic. And it's all about loneliness and isolation, especially if you're very senior in your company or it is your own company. And it's made it to the Taboo Wednesday list. And if you don't know, if you haven't picked this up from LinkedIn, every Wednesday on LinkedIn, we do a taboo topic, something that everyone knows happens, but nobody wants to talk about because it's too uncomfortable. So to deal with it, you have to, first of all, acknowledge it. So loneliness being the topic, it's a very common problem. It's a common problem, not just in business, but in many areas of society. And I speak to a lot of people. When the guard comes down, when they open up a little bit, they just feel isolated. They may not say the word lonely. Sometimes they do, but they just feel isolated. And they feel that they haven't got anybody they can open up to. And there's many reasons why that happens. And actually, what we're going to be talking about in this short training is just the consequences of that to you, to your family as well, and to your business results, to your personal results and what you can make happen. So this is not an airy-fairy thing. This comes down to hard, cold cash at the end of the day. It comes down to business results. So when we look at this taboo topic, it makes such a massive difference in all areas of our lives. I promise you. So it's a very common thing. So if you're feeling a bit isolated, you're feeling a bit lonely, welcome to the human race. And I certainly can identify with this one. Okay, so it's something that I got myself in more of a problem with, for most of my life, not opening up to people. So this is why this is a bit of a passion for me. So if I can do it, I promise you, you can do it. I became the shyest kid in school because of something that happened, which wasn't my fault actually. And then I created a sabotage loop in my thinking, which means I really withdrew and became a really shy kid when I wasn't. So it's not just about shyness, it's also about not being able to just communicate easily and open up and be honest. So not only is it extremely stressful, it makes us worse at business. So if you've got some important goals in your career, in your business, it causes problems in lots of different ways in business as well. But when you're the one calling the shots, when you're running a business or you're running a division or you're running a part of the business, your own business or somebody else's, as a C-suite, the CEO, business manager, even the manager of a team, then it can be very, very difficult, incredibly difficult to open up and to confide in somebody. And the reasons for this usually I'll lose my authority. People will see me for being human. Well, they already know that. And actually everybody already knows this. But often what we do is we say, I'll lose my authority. Now, it is a very, very important thing to maintain your authority. But the fear of losing authority is often the thing that traps us. Others feel they need to be the rock that everyone relies on. Perhaps you're the sort of person that needs to be bulletproof, that needs to be stoic in that respect, to always be there for others. And then you end up breaking. I've worked with so many clients that were there and they feel that they just need to be there for everybody else. And I'm going to have to put my hand up to this one. I'm the one that helps other people, but I don't let other people to come in and support me. And, even saying that for some people, allow others to support you, can make you feel like a failure because your job is to be there for others. And we often learn this when we were younger. Your job is there to be there for others, or we decide it is. So this often comes from our upbringing. And then what it means is that we don't act as effectively as we could because we're not very good at actually being supported, even though there's some people around you desperately want to do that. So sometimes we need to be the rock, okay? And we feel like a failure when we're not. Or perhaps you think you need to know all the answers because you get to feel good about knowing the answers and you don't want to look like you don't know, which then links into a huge one, which is, boom, they would know I'm an imposter. So people often hide, and they feel like they are an imposter deep down, and they don't want anybody to notice. So they hide, they isolate. It becomes something we do to ourselves. So as a client actually said, I feel like I'm on this pedestal I don't want to be on. They want to be leading a close team. They want to feel part of the team. They still want to be the leader. They don't want to be in the team, because that's the difference between leadership and working within a team. And that's their styles, and that's okay, of how you lead. They still wanted to be the leader, but they want to be closer to that team. But they felt they were isolated. And this, they actually said, on a pedestal, which they didn't want to be on. But they've almost put themselves on a pedestal by accident. They feel too separated. And this is the thing. It's the balance between having authority and becoming isolated we need to deal with. So you have the authority to make the big decisions, but you're close enough to be supported. And it's interesting, if you watch films, I was watching one yesterday, and there was the general, high up general. And what they have is often someone who just connects them to everybody else. It's that trusted friend. How many times do we see that in stories, when the person who is the driving force of something, the leader of the organization, the business, but also the movement, or perhaps a king, there's countless stories that they have somebody that they can confide in and trust in. And how valuable is that person? So how isolated you are compared to being the authority is often the problem, because of the things we discussed about. We don't want to lose authority. We don't want to feel that we're not in control and certain and being able to lead people. We don't want people to be scared because they see our doubts. So it can be a real hard balance, especially to do that with people in your own organization. But this is a fixable problem. It's a very common problem. And the nice thing about common problems is often a reason why it happens, and therefore it's easy to fix. And for 20 years, I've been working with people who do feel isolated. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't mean they have to lose authority. So often working with people outside of the business is what is useful, because they can talk about things that are something they can't talk about directly with the people that they employ or they lead. And they also can bounce around ideas which they can't share with anybody else. And the interesting thing is, when I'm working with people, it's not just the strategic ideas or the problems within the business that they want to talk about. They often want to talk about their personal life and the effect on their personal life, because they've got no one else to talk to, because the boss can't talk to somebody else about their marriage problems, or one of their kids that's worrying them, or possibly a crazy hobby that they think is a little bit strange, but they love, but they won't talk about anybody else. So we often talk about all sorts of things because they have a hard time talking to somebody else, and perhaps talking to their spouse. They can't talk about business because they don't want to bring their work home anymore. They bring it home too much. And maybe the spouse is not the right person. They don't have the knowledge to deal with that, and they actually want a relationship with their spouse. So it's a very, very common thing. So an external person is the result. But it's not just about this, because you can listen to this thinking, oh, okay, Stephen, you're saying here, talk to me. Obviously, I get this. But this is the other thing that we do. And this is a really important thing. Work on a plan how to get closer to their team. This is something that surprises them. So talking about external situations, talking about their problems, talking about things they'll never talk about in the business because they can't talk to their team about it. But often what we do is we work on how to make them and the team work closer together. And that's a process that we work on. And it stops it becoming this either or, not just them talking externally to me as a consultant, but we actually work on a process how they can get closer to their team to have a better working and personal relationship while still maintaining that authority of them being the leader. I love doing this bit But people are often surprised because they think, oh, you're just pitching to be a consultant and as a coach. Yeah, but this is the brilliant bit about the consultancy, is how do we actually create this team to work closer together, which benefits the business, benefits them, and benefits the team itself. So it is possible to do this. I've done this many times with people. Isolation is bad for the individual. Isolation is a torture. It's a punishment. Bad people, bad regimes punish people. Well, it also happens in good regimes as well. But they put them into isolation. Isolation for human beings is not much fun. It's bad for the individual, but it's also then bad for the business because the individual is not working at their best. They're not feeling happy and comfortable. So when we accidentally isolate ourselves, or the system that you're in, the culture of the business means that there's a lot of isolation happens. And I've heard this before many times when people have gone into a business and the old boss was very much dictatorial and fear-based. And so therefore there's a huge gulf between the owners and the workers at this level, bad level, down here, oh, you're just workers. And then that's when we're looking at this whole building a plan of bringing the team closer together, because it just feels wrong. You're not working together as a team because the old culture was one of fear and dictatorship. So this is why we've called it out as a taboo topic for our Taboo Wednesdays. But if you think, I'm isolated, I'm stressed, I can't talk. This is what we're good at. We're good at helping senior people who can't talk about topics think about them in a better way. It's almost like having a second brain to think about things to help you with strategy and decision making. Not that we're going to make the decisions, helping you make decisions and see things in a different way, but also how can you make this gap less to make the team work better and actually to be more enjoyable for everybody. So breaking this taboo is easier than you think. The first thing you've got to do, though, is actually go, do you know what? I'm feeling a bit isolated. I'm feeling a bit lonely. I'm missing connection. Connection is one of the most important things for us to be happy. And if we're happy, we're productive. And if your team is not connected, the organization is not able to talk, and then the results go down. So it works not just for the individual, but also works for revenue, profits, ideas, creativity, teamwork, problem solving. Human beings work better as a team. Some people are more team-based, some people are more individual-based, but at the end of the day, we all have to talk and get on with each other. So it's a problem that can be fixed. If you think, I need this, I'm fed up, it's uncomfortable for me to say it, but actually I hear this people say all the time, just, I feel like I'm on my own. I'm so stressed. I can't turn to anybody. I can't talk to anybody. And I've got all this stuff going on. And I've got stuff going on at home I can't talk about. And I've got work. And I'm just... Then that's what we're here for. It's part of what we do. It's a really important part. So if you think, you know what, I'm fed up with being isolated. I shouldn't be on this pedestal. I shouldn't always be the rock. But how do I let people in without losing authority? How do I let people in and... is that your imposter syndrome talking we need to get rid of? There's many solutions depending on what the situation is. So I hope this has been useful to you. And if you think, this is definitely getting in the way, get in touch. There's buttons to click, I'm sure, depending on where you're looking at this, so you can book in a call. But loneliness is a very bad state for human beings. And if we're not working and thinking at our best, especially as leaders, the knock-on effect to the negative leverage of our team and our company and the results is huge. It's something that it's actually quite easy to fix. But most of the time we don't want to admit to it because it's a bit embarrassing, or we feel we made a mistake, or we feel being found out or not being as strong as we should be. What does that mean anyway? Anyway, I hope this has been useful to you. And I look forward to speaking to you.